One on mental health. So let's get started and talk about time management. This is something I think a lot of freshmen come in thinking they have all under control and that they know all about and no one can teach them anything new. So I want to tell you, I have seen students with very high IQs who didn't have good time management and have failed out of Bethel. And on the contrary, I've seen students with lower IQs but who had great time management skills and a strong work ethic who were able to be successful because of those things. So if you're someone who has always gotten by on the basis of your intelligence, I want you to know that you're probably at a crossroads where that's no longer going to be enough for you. So it's time to get a handle on the time management skill. In January, I will get to start meeting with those of you who might get put on academic probation this semester. Or you could, even worse, be dismissed because of your grades. But for those of you who are put on probation, you'll have to meet with me and someone in my office every week for the spring semester to ensure that you're being successful. And when I sit down in those meetings and we try to diagnose what went wrong for that student in January, what went wrong for them in the fall, I have never yet had a student say to me, "Oh, Rachel, I rocked at time management. I was so good at time management. I really wish I would have spent more time watching Hulu. I should have spent more time gaming and going out with my friends. I just studied way too much." No student on probation has ever said that to me. But what I do hear invariably 90% of the time or greater is that they struggled with time management. In high school, this wasn't an issue. Your day was structured, your time was structured. And even if your parents didn't really care if you did homework or not, your whole educational system was designed to make sure you succeeded no matter what you did. College is designed to give you equal access to be successful or to fail, same as everybody else. And so you're going to have to implement some good time management skills if you want to be successful. So let's talk about what gets in your way. There are 6 obstacles to time management. The first is no goals or having vague goals that aren't very achievable, and then disorganization. Also the inability to say no, whether it's a social opportunity or a job opportunity. And then dealing with interruptions. And then also to a lesser degree, the fear of failure, The fear of failure and stress and fatigue can also take a toll on time management. So let's talk about goals. Okay, so you want your goals to be smart, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based, or you want your goals to be smart. In other words, what do you want to accomplish, how, and in what time frame? Okay, so you have to be specific. You can't just have this vague goal that says, "I will get all A's in my first semester." Okay, that's a terrible goal. Wait, did I just tell you that you shouldn't get all A's? No, I did not tell you that. I just said that that's a terrible goal. It's a great aspiration. It's something wonderful to aspire to, but it's not a goal because a goal has a way to measure if you're on track to achieve it. If my goal is I will get all A's this semester, how do I know in week 4 if I'm on track for that or not? How do I know in week 7 or week 10 if I'm going to make it or if I need to make an adjustment? Okay, so your goals need to be very specific and measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. So let's try a better example of a goal. Another goal might be, I will turn in all of my work at least 8 hours before it's due. Okay, that's a great goal, but also think through what you're saying and don't just select something randomly. So if most of your assignments are due at midnight and you're saying that you will turn them in at least 8 hours before they're due, well, that might be 4 p.m. Is that really a reasonable time for you to do that? So these are the things you have to weigh in the balance. Another example of a good goal might be something like, I will study 40 minutes a day for my history class using methods such as outlining the chapter, making flashcards, retyping my in-class notes, and writing my own practice tests. Notice I also gave myself 4 creative ways to study that didn't involve just aimlessly rereading the textbook, which we will talk about more next time. Another example of a better goal might be something like, I will go to tutoring weekly for any class in which I receive a test or major project grade of less than 80%, and I will continue to go to tutoring weekly until my cumulative class grade reaches 83% or better. Okay, there's time frames involved with that. It's very measurable, it's achievable. It's being able to answer that yes or no question. Did I do it or didn't I do it? That's the point of your goals. You need to be able to any day, any week, any month be able to say, did I do it or did I not do it? And be able to answer yes or no to it. That's how you know you have a good goal. Okay, the second obstacle to good time management is disorganization. And most people lose time because they don't have things organized. You have to write it down. We all think we'll remember, myself included, but we really, really don't. Okay? So you can be organized however you want to. You don't have to be extra about it, but at least have your syllabi printed off for Pete's sake, so you're not having to look them up on Canvas every time you want to, and open the PDF on Canvas every time you want to look at something. Use a planner to keep track of your assignments. If you want to use a digital one, great. That's fine. Use Outlook, use Google, use whatever you want to. But what most college students, not all, but many find that a paper calendar really is more effective for them, okay? Keeps everything in one spot and it's quicker to write stuff down in than it is to have to type it in and get to the app or whatever. Do not use your backpack as a file cabinet, okay? Be able to keep all your important papers in your syllabi for classes where you can access them, whether they're all in one folder together or whether they're in a binder with 5 dividers for your different classes. But get organized, whatever way is easiest for you. The third obstacle to good time management is the inability to say no. And this is a big one for a lot of college students because we just want to do whatever feeds our needs, whatever makes us feel good in the moment, okay? So when an opportunity is presented to you, you need to learn to ask yourself these questions. What are my educational goals and does this help me meet them? So for example, if you are planning to go to law school and you want to work in the field of politics and you're presented with an opportunity to run for student council, well, that might be in line with your educational goals. Right? If it's something that's going to look good on a resume, for those of you who are business majors, if it's something that is going to help you in your application to med school or whatever, then think through those things, okay? How many hours am I working outside of school and will this affect my job? So if you get an opportunity to be in a musical ensemble that meets every afternoon from 3 to 5, and that's the time you would normally work, and if you have to work 20 hours a week in order to pay your bill at Bethel, if you're giving up 6 hours a week or so of that 20 hours a week that you can work, are you still going to have the money to pay your bill and come back to school next semester? These are the things you have to weigh in the balance and ask yourself. Especially the next one in terms of social situations. Will this add more stress to my life than it will joy and opportunity? This is the one where, for those of you who are procrastinating, you're sitting in your dorm room, it's 10:30 p.m., that 3-page essay is due at midnight, and you just started it. Or maybe you just got your introduction or your first paragraph done. And somebody comes in your room, a whole group of your friends, and they're like, we're going to Taco Bell, come on. And you're hungry. Ugh, you skipped dinner. And that sounds exactly like what you need right now. Okay, you have to weigh in the balance. This is due at midnight and I've got less than an hour and a half to do. Is this going to add more stress to my life than opportunity and joy? Because if I go with them and I come back and I've only got 40 minutes left to crank out that 3-page paper, how stressed am I going to be? Okay, those are the kinds of things you need to learn to ask yourself. Does it align with my priorities and does it fit into my schedule? And then the fourth obstacle to good time management is interruptions. You may have heard some statistic before, something similar, that it takes the average person 11 minutes to refocus after an interruption, even a minor one. So when you think about it, you're getting in the groove, so you have 50 minutes to study. Let's say you're in your dorm room, you've got 50 minutes between class, and you're trying to use that time productively. Good for you, by the way. And so it's about 10 minutes after the hour, and you're just starting to get focused and get in the groove, and then you get a text from your mom. And you answer it really quick, and maybe you just say, studying right now, I'll call you later. Okay, but you still answered it, you still looked at it, you were still distracted by the fact that the text came in. And so using our formula, if it takes 11 minutes to recover from that interruption, minor as it was, it's now 20 minutes after the hour before you get refocused again to the point where you were before. And then let's say your roommate walks in the room, and being the kind and thoughtful roommate that they are, they notice that you're studying, and so after they say hello and greet you, they become aware of that, and maybe they leave you in peace and go down the hall. Okay, but you still had another interruption. So it's 20 minutes after the hour, it takes you 10 minutes or so to refocus. Now it's 30 minutes after the hour before you get in the zone again. And then maybe a call comes through from your dad. And maybe you press silence on your phone, but still the fact that you heard the vibration of your phone was a distraction to you. So do you see how we could get through 45 minutes and only have 3 or 4 distractions that were minor and minute? But yet with that 11 minutes to refocus, you can have a whole hour where you accomplish almost nothing. Okay? So one of the things I would suggest, in addition to finding a good relaxing study space, find those spots that aren't just the library or the learning commons. Go on a hunt on the weekend and look around campus. Walk through every building. Find the spot that no one else is in and study there. And then also use a productivity app. I recommend the one called Forest, or the free version, the light version is called Flora, okay? And what this does is you set a timer on the app for how long you want to study, whether it's 30 minutes or 3 hours, and then you get this cute little plant that comes up, and it has adorable googly little eyes, and let's say that you get a text from your roommate while you're studying, and you look at it real quick. Okay, then your plant starts to die and it looks really sad and it gets wilty. Okay, so it's really reinforcing. You'd be surprised. A lot of students really like this. And it's a way that you can independently, without having to be accountable to someone about it, that you can manage those interruptions, those distractions, just by using an app that you can put on your phone. Okay? So dealing with interruptions. And then the fear of failure and perfectionism can lead to poor time management if it keeps a person from ever trying, okay? So some people are so afraid of messing up or making a mistake or allowing themselves to get a grade that is less than they want that they avoid doing things rather than plunging in and getting started on the project. And they make things worse because then they procrastinate and wait till the last minute. So again, the key is having a system to get organized and writing stuff down. I would highly recommend this website right here. And for any FYE professors who are watching, I would encourage you to write this on the board and have your students take a picture of it and go to it and try it, or post it to Canvas if you take a picture of it. This is an assignment calculator, and just like a math calculator, this is a very valuable tool. It's probably the number one tool that I show college students that they love, more than any other thing. And so what it does is it breaks them down into little pieces for you, your assignments. Some of you can do this naturally, others of you have no idea how to break something down into smaller pieces. So you go to this website, and at the top there's a pull down where you select what type of assignment it is. Is it a research paper or a reflection paper? Because those are two very different animals. Is it a lab report or is it an essay? You select it, and then you put in whatever date range you want, whether it's 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, however long you want to take. And then it will, according to your date range that you put in, it will spit out a list of tasks for you to do on each day. Okay, so it's a great way to break that down and make your assignments manageable for you so that you're not sitting down trying to write a paper in an hour in one single night. So use that assignment calculator. And then the last obstacle to time management can be stress or fatigue. You're no good to anybody if you're only getting 4 hours sleep a night, whether that's for social reasons or academic reasons. And if you feel so stressed out by your schedule and your commitments, whether it be sports or work or theater or whatever, and balancing those things with your academics. This is part of what college is about, and learning how to balance those things in adult. But sometimes we all need a helping hand and just somebody objective to help us evaluate that. So maybe you go to an upperclassman like your RA for help. Maybe you go to one of your block professors or your FYE mentors. Maybe you come to somebody in my office. Anybody who can help you with that, to look at your schedule and evaluate where could you omit something? Where might you have some free time or something that could be trimmed off that you're not aware of? Sometimes we can't see when it's something to do with ourselves, but somebody else can see pretty clearly and objectively for us. What is slowing us down? What's making us inefficient in terms of our time management? Don't be someone who looks like they're always working but gets nothing done because they're constantly interrupted and aren't focused. So you can manage your time in 5 minutes a day. All you need is a planner, a sticky note, and a pen. Okay? Record all your deadlines and all your to-dos on the calendar, and then deal with this once every 24 hours. Every night, take a sticky note, using your calendar, make your to-do list for the next day. So on Monday night, I'm making my to-do list for Tuesday. And then this is all I carry around with me on Tuesday is my to-do list. And if I'm in class and a professor changes the date, I definitely want to write that on that sticky note. And then that night, I'm going to transfer that new date, as well as anything I didn't cross off my list, back into my calendar or my planner. Okay? I have noticed in my own job, if I don't make a to-do list for the next day before I go home at night, that I am very inefficient the next day. Because what will happen is I'll walk into my office, I'll start answering emails, I'll just respond to things as they happen and I will react to them, but not with any intentionality and proactivity. But when I make that to-do list for myself before I go home at night, then the second I walk in my office, I start cranking things out and I accomplish much more with much greater efficiency and better time management than if I didn't make that list for myself the night before. And every morning that I come in and realize I forgot to do it, I regret it by the end of the day. So we talked about that. If you don't have a calendar, our office will give you one. We are in the lower level of the Miller Moore Academic Center, the AC. One thing you can do if you have a problem with procrastination is use a color coding system where you write the due date on the due date in red, what it is, like philosophy paper on the due date in red, and then maybe 3 days ahead of time in black ink and 7 days ahead of time in blue ink. That's just for those of you who would have something due on Monday and you wouldn't realize it until Sunday night, something big. So for those of you who need those incremental nudges along the way, that might be an effective technique. Reward systems. Reward systems are essential to training yourself well to be a good student. And it's, as you'll learn in psychology, it's very important to only reward the behaviors that you want to see repeated in yourself. Okay? So I found that most type of rewards that appeal to college students can fit into several categories. Either entertainment focused, whether that's being on Hulu or Amazon Prime, gaming, social media, things like that. Edible things, so whether it's pizza or chips or your sweet things or coffee drinks. And then social things, and then also exercise for some of you is motivating. Some of you. Not for me, but for some of you, you may think a 2-mile run at night is highly rewarding and a lovely way to end a day. Others of you may think that, like me, that that's punishment. But find out what motivates you and know that from one day to another, you may need to jump to a different category or a different reward. The important thing is, if you're going to train yourself to be a good manager of your time, is when you get things done, reward yourself even if you don't think you need it. And when you don't get that to-do list done and you blow everything off, and we all have those days, then don't reward yourself. Okay, because what do you teach yourself? You teach yourself, I get the payoff no matter what, so why bother doing the work? And that is how you will get poor grades, is rewarding yourself when you don't do the work. Most jobs are 40 hours a week. Many of your parents work jobs where they work from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. I want you to think of that and think that college is now your job. So if you use all of those time periods, all of those hours between 8 and 5, do you know that you can actually get, for most of you, you can get all of your work done so that every evening you have free time and every weekend? Now there's two exceptions to this. There are athletes and people who have practices and things like that in the afternoons. If you've got baseball practice from 2:30 to 5 every day, okay, that just took away 12 hours of those 40 hours, you know? Or if you are in STEM and you have 3 labs, then you're not spending 15 hours a week in class like the person sitting next to you. You might be spending closer to 30 hours a week in class. And so you are the two exceptions, athletes and people in STEM. But for those of you who are in majors where you're only spending 15 hours a week in class and you don't have any other commitments during the day from 8 to 5, then you can use all of those 50-minute time periods between classes to get your work done. And by the way, if you didn't know, for every hour that you spend in class, you should be spending 2 hours outside of class studying for that class, preparing for it, previewing what your professor is going to talk about the next time. So in conclusion, you should take a self-assessment and ask yourself, what are my obstacles to good time management? Is it disorganization and not making a list and not keeping a calendar? Is it not dealing with interruptions and turning off my phone or using an app so that a productivity app so I can focus? Is it that I can't say no to the people around me? What is my issue? Is it that I don't have goals or that my goals aren't specific enough and measurable enough? Figure out what is your obstacle or your top 2 obstacles, and then tell somebody and tell them how you plan to overcome that. We're about a month into the semester now, and a lot of you are already starting to be in trouble in some of your classes, and some of your professors are worried. And so this is a good time for you to take your pulse, your academic pulse, and it's still time to make course corrections, okay? But 6 weeks from now, your course may be pretty set. So I want you to take what you've learned today, and hopefully you've taken some notes and have a plan in place, but know that our office is here to help you with any of these academic issues that you have. And I will see you in a week or two to talk about creative ways to study. Thanks.